to do it again. For those of you guys who are always working on something, such as myself, you get an opportunity to do it one more time, and then you get a whole 5 days to do it. So, what better opportunity is that than to be great? So, we're going to jump right on in since we are a little bit behind schedule, a whole lot. But we are definitely still moving forward. So, I am Shannon. I am the co founder of For Humanities. Now, For Humanities is the fun side. That's the design, that's the creativity, that's the, no holds bars. That's where everything goes and everything gets creative. Also, being the founder of Survive and Thrive and My Bright Idea, those are where, you get more strategic. You get a little bit more focused in on, things that you're needing to do and things that need to be done and has to be done in an orderly fashion, but it also still can be fun. And that's what we do with My Bright Idea. We bring the fun to, the strategy. So strategy and fun is always a good combination to make things happen. So, looking into like Fortune 500 companies and working with new managers and new supervisors and helping them, having over 25 years in experience with that, that is definitely a great, great, great thing. And it's fun. So, when you're teaching leadership, it's very tricky and it's very particular to the person. You definitely need to know what their personality types are. You need to know like what they work on, what they look like, what they feel like. So again, it brings us back to that SWOT analysis. Doing a SWOT analysis and knowing what those things are in order to play to it, in order to make sure that they turn out with a positive outcome. Is that you? Would you like some of that? So yes, so that is what we're doing. We got this great, great opportunity that I'm thinking of, and it is a good idea. So as you know, teach what you know. What you know is definitely what counts because what you know is something that nobody else knows. And not that they don't know the same concept, but they don't know it the way you know it. So bright idea, bright idea. Definitely love God, bright idea. So, shout out Saturday is, of course, all about shouting out different things that are going on. Yes, 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 yes. So, if that's something you're looking for, maybe you're a new supervisor, maybe you're a new manager, and you're not quite clear on how to make that happen and how to transition into that managerial role, especially if you're coming from being like line staff and you're coming up, but you kind of came up just a little bit, a little bit more, and you shine just a little bit brighter, and you got chosen or you chose to move into a leadership role. You need some help with that. That doesn't come with a set of instructions, if you will, but it kind of does. If you like the instructions, we gonna teach it to you because again, there are some rule books. There are some things that you need to do and establish. First of all, I've been asked these things for over many, many, many years, and I remember coming into the supervisory and managerial role some many 20 something years ago, 25. And I remember one of the staff folks who had asked me, who I, worked aside as well, and still did. But she asked, how, do you do that? How do you get into these managerial roles, and like, what do you do, and how do it? And the first thing that I said to her is coming from the fact that I was also line staff and then moving up into like coordinator and then moving into manager and managing the whole program. Now, these are all both multi-million dollar programs, so they do take a lot of little finessing and a lot of managing and a lot of figuring out. And then you're managing grown folks, okay? Grown people are grown. They want to come to work when they come and they want to leave when they leave and do what they do. But there's still some rules to this. And you have to be able to get them to do what it is that needs to be done, even despite the fact that they're grown and they kind of want to do their thing. They got their rule, their system, and their ways of doing it. Especially if you are working with folks who have kind of set in the way that they want to do stuff and how they want things to be done. It takes a lot of humbling as a manager because you are in charge, but you also are not running this. So you got to keep that in mind. Hi, Latina, girl, we on our way. I'm taking care of stuff over here. But I had this idea that I'm kind of lightweight talking about, but I'll run it past you and see what you think. And it was just something God just dropped into my spirit. And it's in line with what I do on my other side of the town. But it's like a natural flow and it just kind of blows, it could blossom into more. It's still along the bright idea concept, but it's like a arm of what it will do. So, but what it is definitely looking at if you are a new manager or you new supervisor or you just got into that supervisory role and you new to supervisoryship. I made that up, but it sounds good. There's always this point of time of I've spent many years building up new supervisors and building up managers and supporting them and helping other managers, define their space, but at the same time make it make sense for them as they navigate through this supervisory managerial role and working with grown folks at the same time and still trying to move a multi-million-dollar program and provide services because providing services to the public is like no easy task, even though we think that, don't mind, I like wet my hair, so water is dripping everywhere. So just keep it moving. You didn't see nothing here. But when you see that in the fact that that folks are, even though you have a service, you may not necessarily get to provide that service to everyone. So how do you do that? And I see it as a know, like, and trust. How do you get to know someone? How do you get to like someone? And how do you get to trust somebody? I saw this post, someone who's on Facebook, and she does like a lot of stuff. But she put up a post that said, it's something to the degree of not trusting people or, trusting people or the wrong people or something like that. So, I saw it and, I'm all like glamour, glitter, sunshine, everybody love. I love everybody. Okay. So, despite crazy folks. But when I saw that, it just kind of hit me in a way like, wow, you know, I know my capacity. And even with social worker honor and all that other stuff, but just common decency as well, and maturity, and just hey, that's just not what you do. Keep it to yourself. So when I saw it, I was like, okay, it's not good to feel that way or feel that you don't have that capacity to do so or have that capacity to be able to trust in someone because you'll live a really not good life having that feeling. So I was like, I commented and I said, well, trusting the wrong people and then putting trust in people too soon. Have you ever done that? Where you put trust in people too soon? You gave them trust too soon. They weren't ready for that. You weren't ready for that. They weren't ready for that type of trust just yet. So you just can't go pouring into trust with people that's not ready for that kind of trust. They have not built up that capacity or stamina or wherewithal to even have that kind of trust. So you can't just go trusting people and pouring trust into them and then making them feel because they have not earned it or they have not done the things that's necessary even for themselves to know that they can be to do that type of thing. So it's not that they go around just doing willy-nilly craziness, but they're sometimes you can call it distrust or it's not trust. It's just that they did not have that capacity. They were not ready for that. They could not. That's not where their wheelhouse was special. That was not in their toolbox. But you went on in ahead and say, here's all the plans, here's everything. And they're not ready to do that. So we have to kind of understand that you have to wait till people are ready. They're not ready. You just can't automatically just make them be something. Just the same as you can't just make someone who's been doing a job for a while a supervisor. Okay? Need some water. You just can't make them a supervisor. You just can't automatically give that trust of something to them. And, and again, not trust like you don't trust them, they're untrustworthy, but they're not ready. And lots of times it's not that they're not trustworthy or you can't trust them or they failed. It's just that they weren't ready. That was not in their skill set just yet. So technically, if they did not fulfill what you were already trying to get them to do, then you see it as, you can't trust them. You're putting too much on it, as they say back in the day. You putting 20s on it. You're putting 20s on the trust and already giving them the obligation and the wheels and the keys and everything to everything. So you have to kind of keep in mind that what people's capacity and know their capacity. These are questions. Don't go into stuff just mind and like, oh, I'm just going to jump in. No, you need to ask the questions. But this is what usually people don't want to do. They don't want to take the time to ask the questions. So ask those questions. Sit with that person. Ask them what their strengths are. Ask them what their weaknesses are. What opportunities do they see this union or combination or partnership or this job is going to give them? The one thing as a new supervisor, don't get mad because someone says that I see this as an opportunity for me to move to another spot. What the heck? What you mad for? Why would you be upset that they want to excel? Why do you think they got to where they are right now? Because they wanted to excel, they had to leave somewhere, right? So if they're leaving somewhere, and as a hiring manager as well, I don't have a problem when someone says, I see this as an opportunity to move on and to grow. Why wouldn't you want them to grow? Wouldn't you want them to grow? Wouldn't you want them to move on? Because what if you had a new position? You got a director type of position. Wouldn't you want your manager that you know, like, and trust to move on? But if they said, oh, I want to stay here in this job forever and ever. Now, that may be where they are in their life. They may be there at the close of retirement, or they're thinking about retirement and they got some math going on that you don't know about. Now, that's not for you to know. That's not your business. But they may say, well, you know what? I want to be here in this one spot. And maybe that spot offers something that they need at that time for family, for personal reasons. Maybe they want to give back to something and they want to be there. So what your responsibility is definitely still to find out. As a manager, you find out what are their strengths and weaknesses, what opportunities do they feel that being here is about, and then threats. What are the threats? Now when it gets to a point that somebody says something crazy, that's a whole nother thing. But don't look at threats in a sense of, oh, okay, this person can't do the job. No, you need to know what the threats are. And no one's sitting here saying, they thinking about coming in doing some crazy stuff. But like what do they think could be barriers? So kind of lead the question now. Don't be like, I think, my family gonna come up in here and do something, or, the neighbor people. None of that. Okay. But ask them like things that they see are barriers that could prevent them from excelling, things that can, prevent them from moving on or expanding themselves. Because if you have a manager that's not expanding themselves and not looking for opportunities to take on to do new stuff without, overdoing themselves, then that's a great thing, because those are future leaders. You want to build leaders. You're giving the foundation of leadership. That's how I do. I lead by giving foundations, knowing what people's capacity is, because you don't want them to crash and burn up under and with you. You want them to feel like they can excel. You prep them. You give them the information before. You tell them what it is that's expected. You give them the foundations and that support of knowing what the foresight of what's coming. And then you give them a little playbook stuff like, okay, if they say this is what you say. If they say that, this is how you do that one. If this comes up, defer to this. So you do have to set the tone, because as that, mentor, as that person who's helping these new managers or these new supervisors, that's your responsibility. It's, people want to call it succession planning or whatever. That's fine too. I build on succession planning because it's like you're not going to be here forever. So why not pour all of what you got into someone else? So when you're not here, that it's still running in the same fashion that you left it. So with all of that, thank you guys. Now, for those of you guys who are part of the I Create Live that do the $9 a month with me, again, y'all know y'all get some of all of this all the time, even if you don't ask for it. But if you are interested, you can go to this link bit.ly/ I Create Live. This is a $9 per month membership, and you get all of this and a little bit more. But it's more so working with you on what it is that you need to do, helping and motivating you to move forward. So if that's something that you're interested in, then definitely sign up. See you.